So let's jump back in. It's chapter 13 called Mind Over Matter. This is Wishful Thinking. After work, you meet with Ellen at a coffee shop to discuss the news that you'll be moderating Carmichael's gubernatorial debate. And Sarah says, don't you see what a great opportunity this is? And Ellen says, it's definitely going to be the golden star on your resume. And Sarah says, well, that's not what I'm saying. I want to use the debate to publicize our findings on Carmichael. This is our best chance, and it might be our only one. Let's get on national live TV and expose Carmichael for what he is. And Ellen grins and says, a slime pie? And Sarah says, exactly! Voters will be tuned in, and it's live. No more storming off for Charlie. And Ellen says, speaking of slime pie, the lab analysis of Morgenstern's soil came in this morning, and it's contaminated with oil and mineral deposits. And Sarah says, oh, and we got that photo Justin gave us. I can blur out Bob's face to make sure they retain anonymity and find a way to show it. Plus the copies of Charlie's donations that Anna gave me, with Oasis Unlimited highlighted in bright yellow. And Alice says, well, it's a lot of evidence. My only concern is that Alec will somehow cut the feed before we finish our presentation. And Sarah says, well, how are we going to make sure we get that evidence shown? So Ellen says, hey, you mentioned that Anna's in on this, so I think she's an obvious recruit here. And you and Aubrey seem to have gotten close. What about your electrician friend? And Sarah says, Jaime? Jaime would definitely love to help, but what would they do? What would they all do? Maybe... And then we have options. So it's either Aubrey and Anna rollerblade out with a banner, Jaime rigs the screen and Aubrey tells the crew it's okay, or Anna and Jaime drug Alec with snacks before the show. I don't think that last option is a good one, so we'll go with Jamie's rigging the screen and telling Aubrey that the crew is... Aubrey will tell the crew that it's okay. So Sarah says, well, this sounds like secret spy stuff, but I believe in us, and I think we could pull it off. And Ellen says, agreed, let me have it. Sarah says, Jaime is a tech genius. Give him a network password and he can do anything. Waffles. Sarah says, so what I'm thinking is that Jaime helps us hijack the Northbridge news screen while Aubrey and Anna tell everyone it's okay. And then he executes whatever files we give him whenever we give the signal for all of Northbridge to see. Ellen says, well, now your noodle's cooking. I like that we're using the station's own assets against them. And Sarah says, getting Jaime and Aubrey on board will be the easy part. And Ellen says, I dare say my devious nature is rubbing off on you, Gibson. Your phone vibrates on the table and you pick it up, hurrying to answer when you see the hospital on caller ID. And Sarah says, hello? Is everything all right? And the doctor is on the other end and says, even better than we could have hoped. Your father has regained consciousness, Ms. Gibson, and he's asking for you. And Sarah says, what? Oh my God, I'm on my way! And you hang up and scramble to gather your things, standing from the table. And Ellen says, well, what's going on? Got another deluxe scoop for Northbridge News? And Sarah's like, no, my dad's awake and he's talking. Good to see you, Ellen. I'll call soon. Made frantic by the news, you toss your phone into your purse and then rush out the door into the hospital. You burst into your father's hospital room, smiling brightly, and he's sitting up in bed and nods warmly when you enter. And Sarah says, Dad, can I hug you? Dad is back in his regular clothes instead of in a hospital gown, and he says, well, aside from a little leg problem, I seem to be A-okay. I think I can handle a hug, and I don't care if I can't anyway. And you lean close and wrap your arms gently around your dad. You stay that way for a long time, and then sigh and let him go as tears prick your eyes. And Sarah says, I can't believe you're doing so good. The doctor had me prepared for anything. Dad says, well, I still have some miles ahead of me, but I'm glad too. It looks like we're going to be all right. So, I've been out for a while, not sure how much I've missed. Last thing I remember, we were fighting about that Carmichael. Sarah says, well, Dad, We don't have to talk about that. You should just relax and focus on recovering. Dad says, no, I'm okay. I want to talk about it. I want to tell you that I'm sorry for the way I shut you down. Ever since I woke up, it's all I could think about. You're a woman with your own life now, and I can't keep trying to make decisions for you. Even if it's only out of love, Sarah, I was wrong. Sarah says, Dad, I'm just glad you're okay. And you settle on the bed, on his side of the hospital bed, and take your dad's hand. I know that you love me, and I never doubted that, and I don't want you to ever worry that I don't know. Dad says, well, I could have been more fair, though. You came so far, and I acted like you were still my little girl. Sarah says, well, I'll always be your little girl, Dad. And you lay next to him, resting your head on his shoulder. And Dad says, after your mom died, I didn't want anything else to be taken away from me, especially you, honey. But I know that's not right. I have to let you live. Sarah says, well, it'll be okay. I'll be okay, Dad. Believe me, I'm aware of the repercussions. But for the first time in my life, I'm not scared anymore. And Dad says, bye, Sarah. He's smiling at her. And the name's Sarah, who jumps a foot if you interrupt her while she's reading. I remember you used to run around a corner and hide if we were at the store and at the same time as one of your teachers. Sarah says, well, I was 8, Dad. I've grown a lot since then, and I'm not going to run anymore. Dad says, I get the feeling we're not talking about your elementary school teachers anymore. And Sarah says, no, Dad, I'm talking about this story with Carmichael. I've got big plans, and I'm ready to follow through. Because this is, let's see, the options are just who I am now, the best story of my career, or the right thing to do. And, you know, I think that she's doing it because it's the right thing to do. And I know it's safer to stay quiet, but I can't. Real people's lives are at risk, and I have the power to save them. And Dad says, well, then I was an old jerk to try to stand in your way, Sarah. And as much as I'll worry about you, probably for the rest of my life, I have to say I'm so proud to be your father. And Sarah smiles and says, that's all I ever wanted. And Dad says, well, then I should have said so a long time ago. Your dad presses a kiss to the crown of your head. And he says, you remind me a lot of your mother right now, you know. Dad says, really? Not Dad. Sarah says, really? Dad says, she was a living angel as far as I'm concerned. And I never knew a woman less concerned with her own gains. Until you, anyway. Remember the time we saw a man yelling at his kids in that grocery store? And how she just stepped up and calmed him down? I really think she made an impact on the way he parented for the rest of his life. And she didn't have to do that, but she did. Sarah says, I remember that. She convinced him to think about his actions from his children's perspective. And reminded him that small children are a lot like helpless drunks, if I remember the wording correctly. And Dad says, I think that was it, anyway. She had a nobility and a selflessness that you're really displaying as you get older. And I feel like I'm watching a flower bloom. Oh, Dad, thank you. Sarah says, we never really talk about her anymore, do we? And your dad hesitates and then nods. Dad says, well, I guess you're right. It was too hard for me, you know. But I think we both need it. Share a special moment with your father by reminiscing more about your mom. Let's see. We'll do it another time. When you're well rested and out of here, okay? And Dad says, any minute now. And you lean in to clutch your father in one more hug. And Sarah says, I love you, Dad. I'm so, so, so glad you're okay. Dad says, I love you too, sweetheart. I'm not going anywhere. On your way out of the hospital, you run into Jaime, who's holding a bouquet of flowers. And Sarah shouts, Jaime? Jaime says, Sarah, hey, I got your text about your dad waking up and dropped literally everything. And Sarah says, well, so there's a half-finished landscaping job somewhere out there littered with hammers and measuring tape? And Jaime says, with a handful of missing flowers from the garden. Yep. I'm glad I ran into you, though. You were a hard woman to find this weekend. And very mysterious. Sarah says, yeah, well, I had some amends to make. And Jaime says, and I believe you owe me a talk. It is Monday. And you finally confess everything from the bribery to the pipeline in Oak Hills. Because Jaime is so easy to talk to. And he says, first, he messes with Northbridge, and now he's messing with you? We've got to do something now! And Jaime looks pretty upset. And Sarah says, here's the thing, though. Alec trusted me with this moderator gig because he thinks I'm in Carmichael's pocket, but I've got a plan. They gave me a microphone at a political event the entire state will be watching. It's Carmichael on a platter. And Jaime says, oh, you can't leave me out of this. And Sarah says, you're going to help me. You are my rock, Jaime. I know I could trust you to stand right by my side and risk it all. And Jaime says, well, if you're putting everything on the line, then so am I. I'd never let you make that kind of bet alone. Why didn't she sense it? She doesn't have the mind-reading powers. Sarah does. Sarah says, well, good, because I've never needed you more than I will at the debate. Are you ready to hack your way into the news station servers and hijack our big screen so they can't shut down when I go off script? And Jaime says, you sound like Lara Croft, and it's making me all tingly. And Sarah says, oh, hush, Jaime. That's true. That's true. Sorry, I was just looking at what you were saying, what y'all were saying in the chat. It's true. And Sarah says, but yes, I can promise that I'll not only take down a corrupt candidate, I'll look fantastic doing it. And after finding out about Mike Xiao, I want to take him down too. I'd love to see his face the moment we show his picture to our audience. And Jaime laughs and then glances at your dad's hospital door. He considers his flowers. And Jaime says, I guess I should get in there. Call me soon, okay? I'm ready to do this and I want to help make the plans. Also, call me for other reasons. Any reason. See, that's what I like to hear. Call me anytime. Like, yes, Jaime. And you stand on the tips of your toes and press a soft, lingering kiss to Jamie's lips. And you feel his chest sink beneath your hand as he sighs. And Sarah says, I've got lots of reasons to call you. Trust me. Jaime's eyes linger on you as you walk away with a little spring in your step. Hello, Tito. Before you reach the doors, you pause thinking about your words. I'd love to see Mike Xiao's face. Delving into your purse, you sift through your wallet and pull out the contact information he gave you at the campaign ball. Sarah says, maybe I can see Mike's face when I confront him with all our evidence. In fact, maybe there's some way I can gather evidence while I'm there too. Attack of the killer emus. Jeez. Y'all are too funny. Thanks for coming into this stream and hanging out with us. And thanks for all the retweets, everybody. Soon afterward, you find yourself barging into Mike's office at Cycron. And Secretary says, Ma'am, I said Mr. Xiao isn't taking any meetings right now. Ma'am! And Sarah says, I think he'll want to hear this. Hello, Mike, remember me? And Mike is like shocked. Mike crosses the room and quietly closes his office door, waving off his flustered secretary, and he turns to you. How you doing, Tito? How you doing, Derp? Derby! Mike says, of course I remember you, Sarah Gibson. To what do I owe the pleasure? And Sarah says, Oak Hills, mostly. And then he looks surprised and it's like, what? Oak Hills, And Sarah says, I'm a reporter, Mike. You know what this is. And Mike says, fine, what do you want? I can make it happen. The Sarah Gibson show? No, the Sarah Gibson channel, huh? Oh, Ship of Fools, thank you so much for gifting the sub to Fishty Buns. Enjoy the emotes and that ad-free viewing. Do I lose my voice after these streams? Sometimes. Yeah. And I would encourage everybody to ask questions. If you want to ask some questions of me about like how I do the streams or ask me about story stuff, feel free to drop those questions in the chat. But Tito asked, do you lose your voice after these streams? And the answer is, it depends. It depends. When I was doing, say, the It Lives streams, I lost my voice a lot more because I was having to do like the monster voices and do human voices at the same time. So it was a lot of strain. But having to just read people, just, you know, humans, not as much. Not as much. And when I do the streams, I try to limit it to about 3 chapters max. Because I did notice that if I do more than 3 chapters, that it'll take a bigger toll on my voice. And considering, you know, I have to talk for a living, I can't let my voice go out too much. Oh, thank you, Dr. Waffles. I appreciate that. Said the It Lives ones gave great voices, though. I tried really hard to make sure that, you know, the monsters sounded different than the humans, you know? I wanted to make sure of that because I love horror. I love horror stories, and I like scary stuff, and I just like to voice monsters. It's fun. I just feel like my voice is a lot more suited to horror. Warm tea and honey for that throat? Yeah. But yeah, thanks for that question, Tito. That was a good question. And Sarah looks a little bit perturbed. She's like, the only thing I want is to expose you and Oasis Unlimited before it's too late. Mike says, it's already too late, Sarah. Haven't you seen Charlie's poll numbers? He's about to sweep this election and bury that busted pipeline under miles of amended legislation. And Sarah says, not if I go public, he won't. I've got soil samples, pictures, testimonies. And Mike says, and who will publish your findings? Not your station, not in time. And Mike says, maybe you could find a conspiracy theory blog with some decent traffic to host your expose. And Mike presses a button on his intercom and calls for a guard to escort you from the building. And Mike says, thanks so much for stopping by. Best of luck with your mission. And his office door opens and security enters to usher you out. And Sarah says, I thought you were a nice guy, you know? Let's see, but either you're so oily or you could still do the right thing. And I'm going to say he could still do the right thing here. You can come clean about the pipe, remove it, and remediate the Oak Hill soil. And Mike is kind of grinning and just says, it's more cost effective to just encourage the farmers to sell their land to me and bribe the remainders. Sarah says, I pity you, sir. You're leaving a stain on our city, but I'll clean it up. I will. You'll see. And as the guard evicts you from the premises, Your hand slips into your pocket and turns off the recorder on your phone. And Sarah smiles and says, "Go ahead and kick me out. I already got what I came for." A couple hours later, you sit in your dressing room, covertly outlining a game plan for the gubernatorial debate. And Sarah says, "All right, I'll be at the mic. Ellen and Anna will redirect and distract security for Jaime to get in." And a soft knock sounds at your door, and Aubrey pokes his head in. And Sarah says, "Aubrey, hey!" And you push your notes to the side of your desk and stand. Aubrey tucks a picnic basket, enters with a picnic basket tucked inconspicuously behind his back. And Aubrey says, "Well, hey there, can we talk?" Sarah says, "Of course, Aubrey. What's up? You got me an exclusive with Yogi Bear?" And Aubrey smiles softly and places the picnic basket onto your desk, nodding. And Aubrey is kind of frowning a bit, and he says, "Actually, I feel really bad about the way I kind of stormed out the other day. It's your job, your interview, and worst of all, Alec is your boss. I have no idea what kind of demands you're under." Sarah says, "You could say that," or she's thinking, "You could say that again." And Aubrey says, "Actually, the worst of it all is how much I've missed you." And Sarah says, "Oh, Aubrey, I missed you too. And it's been weird to not share the details of my day with you for like 4 whole days." And Aubrey smiles and he says, "Hey, 4 days is a long time post-fight. So I'm a big believer in action speaking louder than words. Let me make my asshattery up to you." Aubrey lifts the lid on his picnic basket to reveal a baguette, cheese, fruits, and a bottle of sparkling water. That's fancy. And Aubrey smiles and says, "Well, what do you say? I want to sweep you off to a hand-prepped lunch under the open sky. Just you, me, and a crunchy baguette." "I missed you too." "No, but okay." "Hey, Depanics, how you doing? It's good to see you. Thank you for coming in." But yeah, if anybody has questions about the streams, how I do them, anything choices related or not, feel free to ask. Because usually I'm the one asking questions, so figure we'll turn the tables today. You can ask me stuff if you like. You can spend channel points or not to do that. Oh, glad to hear it. Go on this picnic with Aubrey to learn more of his backstory and meet a cute woodland creature. That's my best friend. Yeah. Sorry, Aubrey, we're gonna skip the picnic. And Sarah says, "Well, thanks for thinking of me, and I accept your apology, but I've got a lot of work to get done today." Tito asked, "What started you doing these streams more regularly?" Sure, that's a great question. Okay, so initially, to be honest with you, I've been streaming about almost 7 years now, something like that. And while I have been playing Choices for quite some time, I didn't stream it. Partly because I wasn't sure how to do that, because it's a mobile app, so I didn't know how to do it. And then I wasn't sure if the content was so radically different if people would be interested, Well, look at that Kappa. You Kappaing me. Oh yeah. I would love that. I would love to do that more than really anything. But But yeah, I was really nervous actually because I was like, okay, well, you know, I know how to do story streams. I've done those. I've done voices before. You know, I'm not a professional, so you know, um, I just figured, you know, I'll do them because folks had asked about it, and it was really something that I wanted to see done. So basically, I'm doing the streams that I wanted to watch. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Is that I wanted to watch Choices streams where folks would read them and kind of do basically exactly what I'm doing. And I just wasn't seeing them. Are the stories similar or vastly different? Ooh. They have different genres of stories in the Choices app. Not everything is romance. They have, you know, some horror stories, which is what we started with. That really is a, you know, a completely different focus than, say, like the books that I normally read when I'm not online. So yeah. But yeah, there are some stories that have, you know, just similar tropes. Just depends on, you know, what you're looking for. But they are different. Aubrey says, understandable. Maybe I can give this to June and Maggie. They seem like they're at the picnic stage of a relationship. That's a good question, too. And as Aubrey picks up the basket and turns to leave, you hold out a hand to stop him. And Sarah says, well, why don't you have a seat? There's something you should know. And you open up about Anna's confession, the way Carmichael lashed out, his bribery, Oak Hills, Ellen, the moderation plot, everything. I like cheese puffs. That's what Depanix asked. Would I prefer crunchy or puffed cheese doodles? I would say, puffed cheesy poofs. That's what I like. Sarah says, well, I hate to tell you this, but I followed him and Alec one day, and I got them on film exchanging thousands of dollars. And Aubrey looks pretty ticked, and he says, this is horrible! We've got to do something about it. Cheesy poos. Yes. So Sarah says, I'm glad you think so too. Luckily, I have a plan. I need you on our people telling everyone to keep rolling, and that the deviation from the script is fine. We're going to let everyone know that he's been bribing Oak Hills and Northbridge News for months. And Aubrey looks sad and he says, you're going to include the station in all of this? And Sarah says, I have to, don't I? I can't just tell half the truth. And Aubrey says, Sarah, the entire studio would shut down. It might even affect our ability to find new work if this gets out. And Sarah says, what do you mean, if this gets out? And Aubrey just kind of smirks a little bit, and he's like, well, maybe we should think about this carefully before we act, and make sure the studio isn't going to be harmed. And Sarah's thinking, oh, Aubrey, I really don't think it's possible to preserve the studio here. And then she says out loud, Aubrey, what about Northbridge? You can't think of just yourself and your circle at a time like this. This can impact the state. And I mean, what if he takes the race and then moves on to the presidency and ruins the country? And Aubrey says, okay, I take it back. I believe in what you're doing here, Sarah, but I can't join you. Not against the interest of our own people. And your dressing room door pops open, startling both of you. Alec pops his head in. Sarah says, Alec, it's called knocking. Scoffing, he gives your door frame two cursory knocks before entering. Alex says, I want to give you a heads up about that Carmichael and his campaign manager will be here Wednesday for another patented Gibson interview. And Sarah says, yay, I can finally ask Charlie what kind of animal he'd want to be. Alex says, oh, come on, Gibson, you know the game. Get him hype. Get that buzz. It's election season, baby. Burdock out. And you exchange a look with Aubrey as the dressing room closes again. Over in the chat, Tito asked the question if I've ever considered voice acting. I think it would be really fun. I would do it if somebody really wanted me to, but I don't know if I could do it as like a full-time job. And I don't think I don't know. I just don't think my voice has enough range, I guess, to to do that. Burdock out, Aubrey repeats. And Sarah says, one of the many things I have to take him down. One of the many reasons I have to take him down. Later that week, you chat with Anna before your next interview with Carmichael, informing her of the many developments in your investigation. And Sarah says, you know, it's not that I mind you being here, but I feel like you're here all the time lately. And Anna says, well, we're hitting that cable recruit hard before the debate, trying to smooth any hairs that are out of place. And Sarah says, I get the feeling it's only about to get windier in Northbridge, too. You know what? Since they bought out Paradise Bakery, I have not been back. So I don't know if the menu has even changed. Sarah says, yeah. So Anna says, after everything you told me about Cycron and the pipeline? Yeah, I imagine so. Sarah says, well, I think we have everything we need to make our final strike, now that Charlie was dumb enough to trust me with the moderator gig. Thanks for agreeing to reassure Alec that Charlie himself insisted on a rigorous line of questioning. And Anna says, it'll be the first time I'm actually using this potion for good. How can I say no? This is the first time I've been on the air since we started investigating him. How am I going to come across as genuine on camera? Anna says, well, I'm not an actress. There's only so much I could take. And Sarah says, just focus on the end game. And you grasp Anna's shoulders and peer sternly into her eyes. This is a psychological war between you and him. He's manipulative. You can be worse. And Anna says, well, I don't know if that's me. I always speak my mind. Sarah says, repeat after me. And Anna says, after me. Sarah says, not yet, but you're adorable. He smiles wide, and you smile wider. He lies hard, and you lie harder. Just one more day, you can do this. And Anna says, smile wider, lie harder, you can do this. Carmichael pushes onto the set, looking harried and annoyed. Alec follows behind you, or behind him. Charlie says, finally, I'm here. The makeup girl kept talking about some throne game nonsense. It took forever. And Alex says, sounds thorough to me. My people are dedicated to you, looking great on camera in every way. And Charlie says, oh, Alec, I'm pretty sure she was daydreaming about the entire time. But forget it. Are we ready to roll? Charlie takes his seat. And Tony counts down and then points to signal that he's rolling. The music has changed again. Sarah says, good evening, Northbridge. Joining me this evening is the candidate Charlie Carmichael and his campaign manager, Anna Koishi. Anna smiles and says, delighted to be here again. Throne game. I know, right? It's like, wait. It's kind of a roundabout way of mentioning the Game of Thrones. Yeah. And as for the Panera Bread soups, when it was Paradise Bakery, I really liked their creamy tomato soup. So if they still have that, that's the one. It's my favorite. Charlie says, it's always a pleasure. And Sarah says, so tell me, how has the old campaign trail been going? Charlie says, well, as a gesture of goodwill to the environmental community, we plan lots of events in collaboration with Gaia, a pro-nature group. And Anna says, I used to be the vice president of Gaia, and I'm very proud of Mr. Carmichael for reaching out to them. Charlie says, you've come so far. I almost forgot. From planting cute little shrubs to rubbing shoulders with the big dogs. Right, Anna? And Anna frowns a little bit. She's like, I mean, that's a heavily reduced summary of what we did. Gaia got several square miles declared as wilderness refuge lately. Let's see. Sarah says, well, will this co-sponsored event feature discussions with the advocates or even volunteer work? And Anna says, I'd love to get my hands dirty. We should host a volunteer event. And Charlie says, words are what count here. Anna promises plans. That's how I'm going to fight environmental destruction across the country. Sarah looks shocked. She says, across the country? But the governor is a state official. And then Charlie says, who knows where the future will take me? I believe, so beloved and empowered, I'm considering a bid for the White House. With Anna at my side, how could I possibly lose? This country needs someone like me. And Sarah says, what? And Anna scoffs softly, removing her microphone and standing from the couch. And Anna frowns, says, this country needs a lot more, this country needs a lot of things, Charlie. But one more politician like you, I won't be the one to deliver it. Anna says, I can't do this anymore. And Sarah says, Anna? Anna says, I quit, Charlie. And Charlie says, you can't. And it says, don't vote for Charlie Carmichael, viewers. He's lying to you. And Alec gestures for Tony to cut the feed. A technical difficulty sign comes up on the screen as Anna stalks from the set. And Charlie says, wait, we can talk about this. Charlie trails after Anna. As you remove your mic, trying not to look too proud, Alec fumes and paces nearby. And Alec says, he kind of mutters to himself, and it's just, one broadcast that doesn't make us look like chimps in suits? Is that too much to ask? Damn it, Anna. And Sarah says, yeah. Let's see. Things look bad for Charlie, huh? And Alex says, things look fine. He's got his gubernatorial debate tomorrow, and it's going to be the pinnacle of his campaign. And Sarah says, yeah, no one's probably going to care that his his campaign manager quit on live TV. And Alex says, exactly, everything's fine. Excuse me, I need my blood pressure pills. And with your interview suddenly canceled, you pack up your things and head home, feeling optimistic for tomorrow. That evening, you sit on your couch with Jaime and Anna, going over how you're going to use the debate to expose Carmichael. Sarah says, Jaime, I'll set you up with our network password and one of the spare computers we have lying around. And Jaime says, oh, and I was assuming I'd have to break it to the mainframe with my own gear. Using the local programming makes this way easier. And Anna says, now that I'm no longer on Charlie's team, I guess I'll just have to parachute down from the ceiling with a megaphone. And well, I'll circulate the audience with a microphone anyway. Though, that's so much less cool. And Anna says, plus, can you imagine the looks on Charlie's face when he sees me? Sarah says, okay, I think we've got our plan all wrapped up, and I'm feeling pretty good about it. Meanwhile, Glory slinks out of the kitchen and regards you and your company with a cool glaze before leaping daintily onto Anna's lap. I love Glory. And Anna's like, hi, kitty? And Glory kind of purrs back at her. And Sarah says, I think she wants you to pet her. That's just a wild guess. Anna says, I generally don't believe in placating divas, but okay. And Anna begins to pet Glory, and she flops onto her side immediately, exposing her fluffy belly. Someone knocks at the door and you call for them to come in. And Ellen says, oh, what's this? Having a party without me? And Sarah says, I texted you and told you to come over. We're talking about tomorrow and what we're going to do. I texted you and told you to come over. We're talking about tomorrow what we're going to do. So we had to repeat that. And then Ellen says, that's lame. Don't you know anything about night before battle tropes? Hey, KT. And Sarah says, I must have missed that lecture in my introduction to tropes class. And Ellen says, well, you're not supposed to waste all your energy on dorkily plotting every little step. And Jaime says, hey, I'm a proud dork. Ellen says, you're supposed to eat, drink, and be merry. Let's go out to a club. And Anna says, oh, wow, it's been forever since I went to a club. My hair was short the last time I went out to a club, and pink. And Jaime says, I wouldn't mind slamming a shot and howling at the moon tonight. Sarah says, well, that's a big mood, Jaime. And Ellen says, let's go, dorks. Go out dancing with your friends the night before the big debate. Share a moment with your love interest. Oh, hell yes. We get some Jaime FaceTime. I like it. Sarah says, let me go grab a more durable pair of shoes. Bye-bye, kitty witty. See you later. And Glory is like, and she looks really sad. Sarah says, don't have to be a mind reader to know what you're thinking, do I? And you head out the door a moment later, already dancing just a little bit. As you step into the club, the sounds of booming bass and energetic conversation hit your ears. Ellen quickly steers you all to the bar. And Sarah says, whoa, this place is poppin'! And Ellen says, sure, but we're not. If we're going to kick this night in high gear, we've got to grease the wheels a little bit. And Jaime frowns a little and he says, do we have to? I had to grease some wheels today for work and it took forever. Anna says, I'm pretty sure she's talking about a different kind of wheel. And Ellen orders a whole bunch of shots and they disappear as soon as they arrive. And Anna says, now that I'm good and buzzed, it's time to turn up. Let me just have a quick word with the DJ. And Anna semi-drunkenly weaves her way to the DJ booth. And Jaime says, does anyone else have a bad feeling about this? And Ellen says, I'm not following her. You're her friend, Sarah. You go grab her. Put her on a child leash or something. And you find Anna trying to convince the DJ to play Dancing Queen by ABBA. And Anna says, what do you mean? ABBA's too mainstream. They're classic. And the DJ is a gal who's wearing purple lipstick. She has black hair and a choker collar on. She's wearing a burgundy blouse or a top with a black leather jacket. And the DJ says, first of all, the year is 2019, not 1976. Secondly, it's my duty as DJ to play the most obscure music possible to give underground bands exposure. And Sarah says, underground bands? Like who? And the DJ smiles and says, no offense, but you don't look like you know any of them. And Anna looks a little upset. Says, oh, you did not. Just hipster all over this conversation. Now I have to put you in your place. My favorite bands are Mole Constellation, The Truants, McSqueal, Infinity of Lost Things, Stomp the Puddle, Delinquent Historians. So many names. She names so many bands you've never heard of before that you lose track of them all. And then Anna continues the list and says, and the Strawberry Conspiracy. conspiracy. Without them, tambourine-based math rock would never have broken into the EDM scene. And the DJ looks shocked, and she says, all right, you know your underground music. Just tell me what song you want me to play and leave me alone. And so Anna says, go ahead, Sarah. I've had my victory. Play a song you want to bop to, underground or not. And DJ Sarah smiles and says, DJ, play me some bubblegum pop. And the DJ is kind of like, are you serious right now? And she goes, fine. The crowd is always right, I guess, but this is the only request you get. A sugary sweet pop riff begins to play, and the crowd goes wild. Sarah says, see? Nothing like pop music to get a place poppin'. That's what I always say. And the DJ frowns and says, sorry, I can't hear you over the sound of me plugging my ears. Now, if the two of you don't mind, I'd like to finish the rest of my set alone, if possible. And as you turn to make your way back to your table, you spot Jaime screwing in a light bulb near the club exit. And Sarah says, oh, heck no, he's off the clock. I'll catch up with you in a minute, Anna. And you stride over to Jaime and cross your arms over your chest. And when he glances back and notices you, you raise an eyebrow. Oh, playing some Dead by Daylight? Yeah, that's always fun. And Jaime says, oh, hey Sarah, give me just a minute. And Jaime gives the bulb a flick, and it sputters back to life. And Sarah says, how did you even notice one loose light bulb? And Jaime says, well, I'm always just on the lookout for things that need a little fixing. Not all heroes wear capes and all that jazz. Plus, clubs are really loud, and I wanted to head up to the roof for a quiet moment away from the noise. Sarah says, well, let's chill up there then. I'll bet the city looks really beautiful at this time of night. On the rooftop, the night air is calm and cool, and Northbridge is sprawled out in front of you, a carpet of twinkling lights. And Jaime says, much better now. Much better. Now I can hear myself think. And Sarah says, clubs aren't really your thing, huh? And Jaime's mouth drops a little bit, and he says, I didn't mean it like that. I'm having a good time, I promise. I wouldn't have come if I didn't think I would enjoy myself. But since you asked, no, clubs aren't really my thing. And Sarah says, Jaime, they aren't my thing either. The music is so loud, and there are so many people you can barely move. It's like being packed into a can of sardines, but with vodka and trap drums. And Jaime smiles and says, as a fellow introvert, I knew you would understand. And you and Jaime chat and enjoy the night air for another few minutes before returning to the club downstairs. And Ellen says, there you guys are. I was worried you both abandoned me here with Anna. And the DJ smiles and says, attention party people! It's time to take 5, where I play you 5 songs that would have been classics if the public had better taste. Grab your nearest soulmate and show them you know what to do when you're ambushed by a silky smooth jam. And Anna says, oh, hell yes! Somebody hold me back, because I'm about to cut that rug to ribbons. And Ellen says, don't look at me. I don't dance. With you, anyway. And Jaime says, I'd go with you, Anna, but that would leave Sarah without a partner. And I'm going to dance with Jaime, of course. And Sarah says, Jaime, we have a groove emergency on our hands. And Jaime says, well then, it's a good thing they call me the Groove Doctor, shall we? Hand in hand, you and Jaime begin dancing in perfect sync, flowing across the club. And after a thorough analysis, Jaime says, the situation is more dire than I thought. We need to electrify this floor. And Sarah says, you can't mean the tandem funk defibrillator. And Jaime says, it's necessary, I'm afraid. And Jaime slides you between his slides you between his legs and pulls you back to your feet, twirls you, and you leap to straddle his hips and strike a pose. Ooh, phrasing. And Jaime says, flawless. You're amazing, Sarah. And Sarah's thinking, should we keep dancing or should we kiss Jaime? Oh, we're totally gonna kiss Jaime. Are you kidding me? And you lean in, your lips meet Jaime's, your hand running down his cheek, pulling him into the kiss, and finally you pull away. And Sarah says, not as amazing as you. And after dancing your heart out to 5 funky songs, you and your friends reconvene at the bar for a drink and a breather. And Sarah says, tonight has been so much fun, I almost forgot we're taking down Carmichael tomorrow. And Anna says, that'll be fun too, in its own way. I can't wait to see the look on Charlie's face when they lead him off the stage in handcuffs. And Jaime says, and I'll sleep a lot easier knowing someone like him won't be governor. Ellen says, slow down there, Optimism Squad. Anything can happen tomorrow, and Carmichael's a crafty one. I don't doubt that we'll put him behind bars where he belongs, but we have to be ready for anything. And Sarah says, well, no matter what happens, I'm glad I'm doing this with the 3 of you. Carmichael may be crafty, but he has no idea what he's up against. And Anna says, I'll drink to that. After tomorrow, they're gonna sing songs about us. And the 4 of you clink glasses in a toast, and your mind swirls with thoughts of what tomorrow may bring. And that's the end of chapter 13. I was going to take a break for a couple of minutes. I'm going to go and grab some water because I finished my energy drink. And then I will be right back and we will continue. Hang out. All right. And we're back. Thanks everybody for hanging out. If you're just joining, what's up? I'm MartianKat. This is a stream of an app called Choices. It is an interactive story app. It's a lot of fun. It's free. It's just awesome. There's such great stories and art, and there's also a great community right behind it. So, highly recommend checking it out if you haven't already. This story is called Wishful Thinking, and we are on chapter 14. We have, I think, 2 more chapters to go after this, if I remember right. Oh no, this is it! This is it! This is the last chapter! Oh shoot! Alright, well, we better make this count. I better make it a good one. And the night of the debate arrives, and you sit in your dressing room sifting through a stack of what appears to be actual fan mail. And Sarah says, I can't believe my work has touched so many people. I hope they're all watching tonight for my big finale. And the fan mail says, I never missed your show, Miss Gibson, and tonight will be no exception. I never know what to expect, but I always learn. And then there's a letter from June that says, after everything you've done for me this year, I'd be a total sucker if I didn't say, good luck, you're my hero. Aw, June, Sarah says. And then it's a letter from Tony, and it says, in spite of how I tried not to make any work friends this year, I actually ended up making a real one. Knock 'em dead out there. And Sarah says, Tony is surprisingly sweet. And you flip to the next card and you realize it's from your dad. And Dad's card says, my baby girl is all grown up now and I've never been more proud. Go get 'em, Pumpkin. You have what it takes. And you stare down at the card for a long time when a knock at the door startles you. And you wipe at the corner of your eye. As the door opens and several people enter. And Jaime says, woo, this place is packed! And Anna says, how are you feeling? And then Ellen says, have you puked yet? Sarah says, haha, very funny. Is everyone prepared? Jaime, you have your laptop and all the evidence I sent you uploaded? And he says, yep, all I have to do is cast your main screen and start scrolling. Sarah says, great. And Anna, you'll be in the audience with a microphone gathering testimonies from the Oak Hills residents that we invited. And she says, I've gotten several confirmations. They're all finally ready to speak publicly because we could see the light at the end of the tunnel. Reading things cold is very tough. I've never read any of this stuff before, so it's like I have to read ahead a little bit, then read it back. And so Ellen says, shame we couldn't get the studio golden boy in on this. Then we'd have a chance of not being taken off the air before we're done. And Sarah says, hey, no negative thoughts right now. We could do this with or without Aubrey. And Ellen says, I like the attitude, Gibson. And how about you? Are you ready? And Sarah says, I'm so ready. Saving the world? Check. Getting famous? Check. Phaser set to stun? Check. Jaime grasps your shoulders and gives them a vigorous rub. And Jaime says, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Nothing trumps governor like queen. Someone taps at the frame of your dressing room door, stealing your attention. And it's Aubrey, and he smiles. Knock, knock. Hey, superstar. I came to drop off somebody's fancy dress. And Sarah says, thanks, Aubrey. I didn't even know I was expecting a delivery. And he says, well, it's a new addition to the wardrobe, and when I saw it looking so sharp and bold, I couldn't help but think of you. And he clears his throat and extends a red dress, sheathed in plastic. And he says, good luck tonight. And Ellen says, oh, I'm not jealous, just in case anyone was wondering. And you take the hanger from Aubrey and pull the dress from its bag, examining it. And Jaime says, it's a little sexy for work, don't you think? And Sarah says, it's a lot sexy for work. So chic. I didn't even know a wardrobe had these kind of resources. And Aubrey says, Alec wants you and the station to be the best tonight. Of course, whether or not you actually wear it, it is up to you. And Ellen says, I think it would really make a statement if you didn't wear it, and then you gave it to me instead. And Anna says, don't listen to her, Sarah. You deserve this stunner on your big night. And if you want to let me borrow it sometime, I won't say no. And Sarah says, all right, everyone clear out. I'm going to give this bad boy a shot. And everyone steps into the hall to allow you the opportunity to change. And moments later, you examine yourself in the mirror. So it looks like she has like a asymmetric coat dress on with a gold belt and a gold leaf necklace. And also a gold leaf bracelet. It's really pretty. Very red. This dress is hot! And you do a quick model walk down the center of your dressing room, turning sharply and shifting back and forth in front of the closest mirror. And Sarah says, oh hell yes! And Jaime says, are you decent? Sarah says, yep, come on in! And everyone re-enters the room. And Aubrey is blown away. His mouth drops and he says, you, that! And Jaime says, what he said? And Anna says, complete sentences, boys. Sarah, you're stunning. And Sarah says, well, it might be my last time on TV ever, so I figured, why not go out with a bang? And Ellen says, are we ready to do this, everybody? And Sarah says, as ready as I'll ever be. Let's move! And you step toward the dressing room door when Jaime touches your arm and nods for you to stay. And Jaime says, could we actually have a moment alone before all this starts? And Sarah says, of course. I'll be right out, guys. Excuse us. And Ellen nods and closes the door behind her, giving you and Jaime some privacy. And his eyes linger on you for a moment before he looks away, shaking his head. And Jaime says, wow, you seem so different right now, so strong and capable. And Sarah says, well, thanks. I feel really good. And you tilt your head to the side, noticing that he still hasn't looked back at you. And Sarah says, well, is that a bad thing? And Jaime says, no. Sarah, I'm so proud of you. I got to witness this complete transformation over the past few months. It's silly, but I've got this terrible feeling like you don't need me anymore. And I guess that's why I'm always fixing things. In a way, maybe I'm just trying to prove my worth. And Sarah says, Jaime, can I just kiss away your worries? And Jaime says, I mean, obviously, that's one solution. Beaming, you draw Jaime close and kiss him deeply, and you rake your fingers through his hair and lose all sense of the dressing room and impending debate. And when you pull away, you sigh and fix your hair with a little smirk. And Sarah says, feel better? And Jaime says, about what? And Jaime chuckles. And he says, I mean, yeah, I do. You always make me feel better, Sarah. And Sarah says, you know, I might be strong in front of everyone else, but you make me feel strong and weak at the same time. And Jaime's eyes darken and he leans into you again, giving you one last searing kiss. And you bite your lip as he settles back again. And Jaime says, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to take on the world. Are we doing this? And Sarah says, let's get him, killer. Taking a deep breath, you step through the dressing room door, ready to tackle the debate. And you enter the auditorium and circulate in the crowd, mingling and locating Jaime and Anna to make sure they're in position. Alex says, hey, superstar, you ready? You look ready. You look like $1,000,000, actually. And Sarah says, it's going to be a big night, but I think I'm prepared. How about you? And Alex says, it's just another day in the life. I've got 2 freaking ulcers, but other than that, I'm good. Hey, Charlie, over here. Charlie nods and waves from his podium, and Alec looks a little bit ticked off, and he's like, look at that Merryweather over there, thinking she's so great with her stupid Princeton pedigree. And Merryweather is a reporter. She's got long black hair and a blue blazer and a white top. Tall black woman. And she doesn't say anything. She's just standing there looking awesome. And Sarah says, well, she looks fine to me. And Alex says, don't be fooled. She's basically obsessed with education and the environment. So annoying. Oh, Tony is signaling. We're about to go live. Good luck. And you take your place at the moderator's table and settle. And Sarah says, thanks so much for joining us tonight, everybody. I'm Sarah Gibson, coming to you live at Northbridge News with our gubernatorial debate. And Charlie says, so happy to be here. And Meriwether is his opponent. And she says, it's a delight to meet you, Ms. Gibson. I'm a big fan of your show. And Sarah says, I appreciate that. Now, as you know, we will begin with a series of questions for both candidates. And Sarah says, candidates? There are 3 questions. How will you address the failing crops of Oak Hills? Are you aware of a spike of our spike in local hospitalizations, or are you affiliated with Mike Zhao and his Cycron pipeline? Ooh, I think we're going to go with the second question first, which is, are you aware of our spike in local hospitalizations? Doctors in Northbridge are overwhelmed by patients from outlying areas who seem to have been poisoned. And Charlie just kind of has a poker face. His expression doesn't change, and he says, as you all know, I launched a very successful program for my employees' medical care, and I'd love to help fund North. And Sarah frowns and says, that wasn't the question, Mr. Carmichael. We're not discussing funding. We're discussing knowledge of these poisonings. So, did you know? And Charlie just looks shocked and his mouth drops and he says, I had no idea. This must be a very recent development. And Meriwether also looks shocked, and she says, well, it's obvious to me that we need to assess and rectify this public health crisis. A poisoned citizenry is unacceptable. That having been said, I wasn't aware either. And Sarah says, well, strangely, local news stations have not been covering this development, which likely contributed to the public's ignorance. And Meriwether says, what? Why is that? And Charlie says, ladies, we're getting off topic. This is about hospitals, not the media. The file taken from Alex's office by Ellen fills the Northbridge news screen, and the audience murmurs as they read. Sarah looks very serious and says, I'm not surprised that Mr. Carmichael doesn't want us discussing the media. He doesn't want Northbridge News discussing a lot of things. Sarah says, candidates, how will you address the failing crops of Oak Hills? The environmental devastation of that town is certainly an issue relevant to whoever becomes governor of this state. And Meriwether says, why have I never heard about this? And so Sarah says, the area's farmers have been bribed and threatened, and local media outlets intentionally ignore this monumental story. Charlie says, of course I knew about this, and if elected, I will do my part to finance all of the counties of the state. And Sarah says, in my research on the area, I learned that you've already been financing the area, Mr. Carmichael, under the table. Wouldn't it be more effective to launch a full-scale investigation and determine the cause of the devastation? And Charlie says, oh, not sure. It isn't a completely natural phenomenon. Sometimes soil is just bad. And you grin as Jaime triggers the Northbridge news screen to suddenly flood with your laboratory results of the Morgenstern soil. And Sarah says, I actually analyzed the sample here, and it seems like the soil was poisoned with significant deposits of oil. So candidates, are you affiliated with Mike Zhao and his Cycron pipeline? Due to the risk of compromised integrities, it's vital to our community that our leaders have no personal stake in private companies. And Meriwether says, I'm personally shocked and disappointed that you'd even have to ask. If elected governor, I'll work purely in the public sector. And Charlie's mouth drops. He says, this question is very assumptive and unfair. Mike Zhao is a childhood friend of mine, and I can't control that. And Sarah says, and would you be willing to prove your loyalty to the community by stepping down from your silent partnership with Cycron? And Meriwether says, he's a partner there? The internal documents Ellen dug out of the Carmichael Investments trash fill the screen for everyone to see. And Carmichael actually starts to frown a little bit. He looks like he's moving into perturbed territory. And he says, I don't believe that this creates a clear conflict of interests. I barely even show up to those board meetings. And Sarah says, so you won't relinquish your chair? And Charlie says, I suppose I have no choice. I'd also like to mention that those are private files you're showing, and my legal team will be contacting you. And Sarah says, great! I hope they're not too swamped with indictments and subpoenas to remember to reach out to me. And Charlie says, Ms. Gibson, these questions are incoherent and biased. Where's the discussion of tax policy? What about unemployment? And Sarah says, oh, that's a good point. Let's take some thoughts on unemployment from the audience. Ms. Koishi? Anna waves from deep in the audience, holding a microphone in her other hand. And Anna says, hello everyone, I'm Anna Koishi, recently unemployed after resigning my post as Charlie Carmichael's campaign manager. And she extends her microphone to Bob and Justin Morgenstern, seated nearby. And Anna says, gentlemen, do you have any thoughts on the job market you'd like to share? And Bob says, oh, as a struggling farmer from Oak Hills, I certainly do. The busted pipeline wrecked my soil and I'm about to be unemployed. How will the future governor protect our livelihood and fix that dang pipe? And Justin says, considering how many of us are in the hospital with high medical bills to pay, we definitely need some help stat. And Sarah says, thank you, gentlemen, for bravely coming forward about your struggle. And Sarah says, now, do you believe the negligence of your community leaders is intentional? And Bob says, oh, also... And Charlie says, don't listen to these actors paid by Meriwether Northbridge. The tragedy in Oak Hills is incidental, and she's sensationalizing it. And Mike Zhao's voice floods the speakers, and you smile, flashing a covert thumbs up to Jaime, who is seated behind a company laptop in the back. And Mike Zhao says, from the recording, it's already too late, Sarah. Haven't you seen Charlie's poll numbers? He's about to sweep this election and bury that busted pipeline under miles of amended legislation. And Sarah says, ladies and gentlemen, this is the voice of Mike Zhao, CEO of Cycron, from a secretly recorded file on my phone. And Charlie shouts, Alec! Can't you do anything to stop this madness? And Alec says, I'm on it! Alec thunders toward you, closing in, and you dodge into the crowd, still clutching your corded mic. And Sarah says, Alec, wait! Remember that you're on live TV. Everyone can see you right now, so keep your hands to yourself. And Alec looks really mad, and he says, I've got several fake identities ready to go and a very forgettable face. You don't scare me. Get back here! Aubrey strides through the crowd and blocks Alec, holding out his hand towards Alec's chest. Thank God, where have you been? Take her mic, she's gone totally AWOL! And Aubrey says, I can't do that, Mr. Burdock. Northbridge deserves to hear the truth. And Sarah says, Aubrey, I knew you wouldn't let me down. Alex says, that's how it's gonna be? Fine! Alec throws a sudden punch, rocking Aubrey's head to the right. Dazed but still standing firm, Aubrey works his jaw and scoffs. And Aubrey says, disappointed, but not surprised. Meanwhile, Alec marches to an outlet and violently pulls your mic's cable from its power source. And Aubrey tackles him to the ground. But it's too late. And a jolt of electricity travels up to your hands and courses through your body. Psst. And Sarah screams. And Aubrey says, Sarah, oh my God! You shake your ringing head as Anna advances towards you, leaning down to help you up. And in the distance, Aubrey restrains a flailing Alec. And Anna says, are you okay to keep going? And Sarah says, I think so. I feel okay. And you stagger slightly to the side, a little dizzy. Then Anna catches your elbow to steady you. For a moment, you're not sure you can go on. And then her whispering thoughts travel through your mind. She's thinking, you've got this, Sarah. I believe in you. And Aubrey's thinking, I'm glad she's okay. She's already sacrificed so much to help us all, to save the entire state. And Jaime frowns a little bit, and he's thinking, come on, Sarah. Charlie's thinking, she won't pull the trigger on her own station. I know she won't. She's too weak to continue anyway. And you take a deep breath and stand up straight again. And Sarah says, I'm okay to keep going. Anna, can I see your mic for a sec? And as Anna passes you her mic, Ellen swaggers up to join you, slinging an arm around your shoulders. And Ellen says, bet you never thought you'd see me again, huh, Charlie? And he says, I don't know why I thought I'd be so lucky. And Alex says, what the hell's going on here, security? Escort these two women out, they're both fired. And Sarah says, oh yeah? I'm not the only one. The entire studio is going down for this level of corruption, Alec. Don't you see? Your irresponsible greed jeopardized every career in the company, and saving our tarnished reputations isn't worth the cost of silence. And Alec looks shocked, and he says, that's really eloquent. Did you come up with that yourself? And Sarah says, I was a writer here for 2 years. Turning away from Alec and gripping your microphone, you take a purifying breath and redirect toward the cameras and the audience. And Sarah says, ladies and gentlemen, it was late one night not long ago that Anna Koishi came to me with ethical concerns for Charlie Carmichael. Sarah says he was taking thousands of dollars in donations from Oasis Unlimited, the same shell company used to funnel money into Oak Hills. Sarah says, if you elect this man as your governor, his vested interest in the performance of Cycron will be a detriment to your environmental safeguards. And if he's in bed with one company for sure, it's hard to say how many others there are we just don't know about. Sarah says, we would have reported on this much sooner, but Northbridge News has been paid to spin every story in favor of Carmichael's agenda. And Charlie says, this woman is delusional. She has no proof. And Sarah smiles and says, actually, I got footage of a cash exchange of $30,000 between Charlie Carmichael and Alec Burdock, studio producer. Can we roll that now, Jaime? And Charlie says, there's a rational explanation for all of this. Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for coming in, Eric. Let's see. And Alex says, haven't any of you ever, committed a felony before? Look in your hearts and you'll find that you have. And next, another picture floods up into the screen, and it's Mike Zhao giving money to Bob Morgenstern. And Sarah says, I was also the one who procured that picture you see up on the screen. Hey, Choices Lady. Oh, okay. I thought you were. I was all caught up in my moment. Sarah says, that's Mike Zhao, CEO of Cycron, a shell company, Oasis Unlimited, bribing a farmer from Oak Hills. And Sarah says, I was bribed too when my father, Harry Gibson, was hospitalized earlier this year. And Charlie Carmichael paid for it. Yeah, it threw me off. And you glance up and see that your dad's medical bills and payments with account numbers redacted are now on the screen. And Sarah says, in exchange, I would only report positive details about him and his campaign. And Charlie, is really mad. He looks upset and he says, this is outrageous! Those documents are forgeries and these pictures are doctored and the witnesses are paid actors. Where the hell is Alec? And Sarah smiles, says, thanks so much for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope I've given you a lot to think about before you go into that booth. The auditorium buzzes with excitement and applause. Very softly, you think you hear the sound of a siren approaching. Later, you watch in a daze as police officers clasp Carmichael's hands behind his back and read him his rights. And the cop says, you're under arrest for bribery, racketeering, conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and failure to report discharges of a toxic substance. And Sarah says, I can't believe it's really happening. We did it. And Ellen says, we sure did, girl. Don't look so surprised. And Aubrey says, every now and then, there's justice in the world. And Merryweather exits the studio and spots you, her eyes brightening as she hurries over. And Merryweather smiles and says, thank you so much for all you've done. I was going to lose the election to that pig, but now I promise I'll make you proud. After what I just witnessed, I know better than to earn your ire. And Sarah says, more importantly, Oak Hills is counting on you now. And June, Maggie, and Tony rush out, and when June sees you, she grins and waves. All three come to join you. And June says, I had no idea you were planning a super spy takeover, Sarah. And Tony says, yeah, don't tell anybody, but you're kind of my hero right now, until I see another action movie anyway. And a marshal parts the crowded lot, holding Alec in handcuffs, and your ex-boss yells out to his former employees, don't worry, Northbridge News, I'll be at my desk in just like, I don't know, a few weeks. And the officer says, 3 to 5 years, but that's just a guess. And Alec is upset, and he says, oh, please, these charges have no sticking power. After I make bail, I'll be back and better than ever. And Alec says, damn, I'd love to clap back at Murdoch just one time. Sarah says, me too. And Maggie says, yeah, he never held back what he thought of us. Only fair he finally knows what we think of him. And Alec drags his heels as the officer leads him past you and your friends. And Alec says, Sarah and company underfoot as usual. Care to pay your respects now that you realize just how screwed you are? And the tutorial says, love to hate Alec. He's not your boss anymore, so give him a piece of your mind. And you know what? We're gonna take it. So Sarah says, Alec, oh yeah, let me have it, Girl Scout. Turn me into a shamble of a man. And Sarah says, life has already done that. I mean, look around you. What do you have? Where are your friends? And Alec looks upset. He says, nice try, Gibson, but you're wrong on this one. My crew loves me, and they're going to hate you for being such a narc. And Sarah says, is that true? Do you guys love Alec Murdoch? Go ahead, Aubrey. And Aubrey says, I've got a question. What do you eat? And Alex says, you're worried about aging gracefully like I did? And Aubrey says, I'm worried about choking to death every time I walk into the men's room. And Alex says, my 100% meat diet might be pungent, but now I only go once a week and it's tripled my testosterone. And Aubrey says, yeah, that's what you need. More testosterone and poop. Oh, jeez. And Alec says, oh, and what would you suggest? Low-fat yogurt and a steady diet of romantic comedies? And Aubrey says, I'd suggest ensuring your next place of business can accommodate you with a private bathroom. And the officer says, I can almost guarantee that it won't. And Sarah says, that might actually help you out, Alec. Did you know the striped polecat marks its territory with an anal spray? It's so powerful it temporarily blinds its predators. And Aubrey says, I can vouch for temporary blindness. Alec may flourish behind bars after all. Go ahead, Maggie. And Maggie steps forward and puts her hands on her hips, looking at Alec as though he's an ugly stain. And Alec says, what are you looking at, airhead? And Maggie says, I'm just trying to see my reflection in your bald spot. Without me to cover it up for you, it's so shiny. And Alec looks shocked. He says, hey, let's leave the bald spot out of this, alright? Don't kick a man while he's down. And Sarah says, wait, hold on, Alec. You're bald? And Maggie says, he's like super bald. I've seen tortoises with more hair on their heads. Not that you would know, since I spent every morning filling it in. Every morning. Alex says, that's a very important job. You should feel honored. I'm even bothering to put your stupid cosmetics degree to use. And Maggie says, oh, I put it to use all right. Do you remember that meeting you had with the network executive last year? And Alex says, well, not everyone has the memory of a goldfish, Maggie, so yes, I remember. He says, well, before you went into that meeting, I wrote loser on in your bald spot in neon green permanent marker. Alex says, why, you little... And Maggie says, never underestimate a vengeful girl with a cosmetics degree, loser. Go ahead, Tony. Tony says, oh, I've been sitting on this one for a while. One of Alex's many corporate crimes was renting out our video editing room. Stop, I love Maggie. Yes, that was some sweet, sweet revenge. That was some sweet revenge she took out on him. And Alex says, oh, come on, that was just between us and any of my friends who wanted to use the equipment. And Tony says, Northbridge News isn't your own personal bowling alley, Alec. You can't just rent out our rooms. And Sarah looks shocked and she says, why would you even need a video editing room for? Oh, what would you even need a video editing room for? Or do I even want to know? And Tony looks kind of sad and he says, I distinctly avoided finding out. But one time I walked in on him watching The Little Panda Fighter. It's a straight-to-video ripoff, literally subtitled Not Kung Fu Panda. And Alex says, because it could stand on its own merits. Pankata is a scrappy hero in a comedy of errors, and so am I, clearly. And Tony says, yeah, maybe this is all dialogue for your biopic someday. Now, all you have to do is be capable of change. Alec is frowning and he says, pass, Twig. I'm uncut, barrel-aged alpha and proud of it. Go ahead, June. June looks really upset and she says, it's ridiculous that you were always editing my work when you still spell at a 4th grade level. I went to Northbridge University. I majored in English. And Alex said, why were you always forgetting your apostrophe when it said it's there and your? June says, not every word gets an apostrophe, Alec. And Sarah says, or homophonic substitutions. Raise your hand if you've ever gotten a write-up that says, are you always late? You are always late, L8. Jude says, to add insult to injury, he'd send his emails to me for grammar checks. Like, what? If I'm not competent enough to write my own stories with correct spelling, how could I be competent enough to correct your grammatical disasters? And Alex says, some words get an apostrophe. And Jude says, here's an apostrophe for you. You're an idiot. Ellen says, if we're taking the time to rattle off Alec's flaws, then I have one to suggest. Total Napoleon complex. And Alex says, shut your mouth, Thompson. Anyone would look short next to you. And Ellen says, look, I'm not about to drag someone for their height, but he mandated my whole wardrobe because of this. I wasn't allowed to wear heels. During meetings, I had to lower my chair. And if we were ever standing next to each other, I was supposed to squat slightly. On the plus side, my thighs got really strong. And Alex says, I'm not short. You're just a gangly gazelle. And Ellen says, oh, yeah? Is that why you started wearing platform shoes? And Alex says, what? No! That's pure slander. I never... And suddenly she lunges at Alec and tugs at the hem of his pants. The soles are several inches thick. And Ellen says, ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A. And Alex says, is that really what you all think of me? You don't adore me like some distant father figure? And Sarah says, more like washed up egomaniac. Your glory days are far behind you now because you never saw room for improvement in yourself. It was a self-fulfilling prophecy. And now other people will be passing you in the fast lane for the rest of your life while you wonder why. Alex says, you think so? Good, because I'm gonna make sure you never work in this town again. And Sarah says, well, once upon a time I would have taken your words seriously, but now I see you for who you've always been, an aging bully, and that's all you'll ever be. Needs to film that for the company Christmas party. Yeah, right? And Alec opens his mouth to respond and then closes it, face falling. And the police nod and leads Alec away. And he looks really sad, of course, because he's going to jail. Going directly to jail. Your friends send up a little cheer to see him go. And Ellen says, I hope he rots in there. And Sarah says, and I hope the rest of his hair falls out. And that, his ex-wife is very happy, and the prison food is boogers, and he finally learns his lesson. And Aubrey says, and I just hope that smell in the men's room can wash off the walls. And Ellen says, hey, does anyone else feel like they seriously need to wash this psychic funk off? Let's head to a bar and celebrate. Drinks are on Sarah. And Sarah says, wait, what? And June says, yes! Grabbing your hand, June pulls you through the parking lot and you decide to give in and let the night take you wherever it wants to go. You arrive at a colorful bar soon after and you decide to make good on Ellen's promise that you'd grab everybody drinks. And Sarah says, I'm going to be totally unemployed tomorrow anyway. What does everyone want? And Jaime says, nope, nope, nope. I'm the only person here who will still be gainfully employed in the morning, so drinks are on me. And June says, I appreciate that you'll let me put you broke. Yeah, I appreciate that you'll let me put you broke, but I'll go ahead and grab my own. What do you want, honey? And Maggie says, could you grab me a glass of champagne? Thanks, Snugglebug. And everyone else cheerfully gives Jaime their orders, and he heads to the bar for a moment. And Ellen gestures towards Maggie. Well, aren't you and your little girlfriend cute? When did all this happen? And June returns to the table with champagne and a fruity drink for herself as Maggie answers. And Maggie says, I had a huge crush on June for a long time, but I never would have had the guts to even converse with her if not for Sarah. And June says, seriously, I had no idea that the freaking best girlfriend of my life was thanks to you. And Sarah says, and you're welcome. The whole reward is just seeing you so happy, June. You've always been a great friend to me. And Maggie says, aww. And June says, and Sarah helped me plan out our first date so that it could be perfect. That was the night of our first kiss. And Maggie says, that was the night I realized I was really falling for you. And Ellen says, well, I'm sorry I asked. This level of cuteness is not my brand. Eyes sparkling. Let's see, he drops the light onto your cheek and passes you a beverage. And that was, Jaime. And Sarah says, thank you. Shall we toast? Cheers to our hard teamwork and new friendships. And if Anna hadn't trusted me with very sensitive information, I never would have been ready to believe Ellen when she came over. And Anna reaches out and squeezes your hand. If you hadn't proven your good heart to me time and again, I wouldn't have thought of you when I was scared. And Ellen says, and if you hadn't been a huge pain in my ass, I wouldn't have thought of you as the perfect partner to take down Carmichael. And you cheers to Jaime and Aubrey too. And Sarah says, let's not forget, Jaime risks possible jail time to break into the Northridge news system. And Jaime places his hand on the small of your back and leans close to whisper. And you know I can break out of any jail cell, right? And Tony says, here, here, I'll drink to that, or to anything, really. This night has been stressful. And Sarah says, hey, big props to Aubrey for jumping in at the last minute and rescuing me from the fury that was Alec. And Aubrey smiles and says, that job sucked anyway. Seriously, I was just doing what I should have done from the start instead of worrying about what we all stood to lose. And he's thinking, and Aubrey's thinking in his mind, and I couldn't just stand by and watch Alec go after you. That was the real last straw. And you nod, smiling to yourself as you realize that your powers have really returned. Hey, Ozza. What? What's not right? What wasn't right? I went to the party with the drinks and no pizza. Let's see. Yeah. No, you're good. This is so funny. Oh, right. And Sarah says, well, I guess we'll all be going out. Well, we're all going to be out of work tomorrow morning. I'm sure the studio will be shut down and cleaned out. I did laugh. I was just like, wait, what? Like, did something happen? Did I click too fast? Like, what happened? Because I do that. And Maggie says, and on that note, I'm hitting the dance floor, June. To come distract me? And as June and Maggie head off hand in hand, you hear June reassuring Maggie of her talents and smile. And Anna says, you know, the whole nation is going to be talking about what we did tonight. Our phones will be ringing with lots of offers. And in her mind, she's thinking, I hope Sarah doesn't forget me when she gets famous from all of this. And Ella says, God, I hope you're right. I didn't risk my ask for nothing. And Tony says, well, I guess my dad was right about being a camera technician. At least I can find a job quickly. Do I just completely forget that I'm streaming? Yes, actually. It's a funny story before I continue. Okay, so last Friday, I was streaming with my Friday night stream partner, Bitch and Cupcake, and she was gonna continue playing Dead by Daylight, and I was gonna just kind of spectate and watch, and I ended up closing the game without closing the stream. So I didn't stop my stream, I closed the game. And I was like, oh my gosh. It's like, why did I do that? So of course, there's this like black screen up and everybody's, like, what the heck just happened? Did your game crash? And I'm like, no, I closed it. I closed the game. Without turning my stream off first. That was funny last week. So yes, that's happened. Oh, I was tired. Yay, not just me. No, definitely not just you. I would love to say it was only you, and I've never done anything crazy on stream. Ever, never. You know. Yeah. So. And after I finish this up, if y'all have more questions, because Tito asked some really good questions about streaming and just doing choices streams and stuff and things like that. So if you have any questions, let me know. Feel free to ask them. I do love questions. And Sarah says, and I thought you said you had some paying gigs lined up for you and Belladonna. And Tony says, oh yeah, I guess I do. And Aubrey smiles and says, hey, maybe this is the perfect time for me to launch myself blindly into movie production. And Sarah says, no time like the present to start following your dreams. And Sarah says, and I could always be a professional mind reader. And Anna says, I always thought you were eerily perceptive. You might have a calling there. And Sarah says, yeah, I just don't know if I could commit to the traveling circus lifestyle. And Jaime says, you know who would really love to contract your services? Police and private investigators. And Sarah's like, oh, I could have my own show, Judge Sarah. And Jaime says, whatever you end up doing, or definitely not doing, I've got your back. My rainy day savings are yours. And Sarah says, aw, thank you, Jaime. That's so generous. And in his mind, he's thinking, I can't count how many times you've been there for me, and all I want to do is pay you back. And as June and Maggie return from the dance floor, both beaming, Ellen sits up a little straighter and fixes her gaze across the room. And Ellen says, hold up, y'all. I see a fine woman giving me a little wave from the bar. Be right back. And Anna says, I'm going to grab another drink. Does anyone need a refresher while I'm up there? And Anna's eyes linger on you meaningfully, and you suspect that she's really only asking you. And Sarah says, I'm good, but thank you. And Jaime says, same. I'm going to step outside for a minute. I think I might be hitting the wall. You studio people really know how to party. And he leans in closer and whispers in your ear. Jaime says, you're welcome to join me if you get a chance to break away from your adoring fans. And Jaime steps out of the club to take his breather, and you watch him go. And Aubrey says, I'm going to see if the DJ has any 60s soul music. I know it's a long shot, but I have to try. And if the gods of music smile on us, can I get a dance before the night is through? And Sarah says, if the DJ plays 60s soul in this club right now, I'll fall off my stool in shock and dance with you. And as Aubrey walks away, June raises an eyebrow at you and says, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but you're really the belle of the bar. And Sarah says, really? Me? I must be more charismatic after saving the day, I guess. And June says, okay, forgive me for prying, but are you thinking about, going home with anyone? This is your chance to finally take your relationship with your love interest to the next level. Oh boy. Oh, no. Aubrey is so pretentious. Yes, he is, actually. He is pretentious. I have noticed that. What are we eating, Katie? What are you eating? No! What? Okay. Oh my god. I can't believe I'm gonna do this, but okay. Anna thought. And I am eating pot roast. Yum! That's so good. Oh no. Oh no. Go, Anna! No! Oh my gosh. Didn't you just replay this? I'm debating on if I want to do that. I don't know if I want to do that. I don't know. I don't know if I want to do it. Oh my god. I've never read one of these.
Oh dear. Now I shall have to create more Martians.
Uh-oh. Ozza. There we go. Sorry, Ozza. And it, deleted all the messages, so I couldn't even see what you said. Oh, jeez. Don't be sad. Don't be sad. It's okay. It's okay. My, my bot has been, going loco today. I cry every time. I'm sorry. Oh, no. Let's see. What happened? I wanted to see it. It's like I didn't even get to see it. Hey, Jerry. Thanks for following. Welcome to the mothership. Jerry, you traitor. Oh, he said Jaime? Oh! Oh my god. Okay. So, alright. I've been avoiding doing the 30 diamond scenes, so let's just go. I've not done one of the 30 diamond scenes on the stream, so let's just do this thing. Steel myself, take a deep breath, and all that good stuff. Oh my goodness. It is romance month. That is true. It is romance month. This just made my whole life. We'll see how this goes. If I don't feel too weird about it, we'll see what happens with the other stuff. So June says, I thought I saw some sparks flying there after he went off on Alec for speaking to you disrespectfully. I could totally see the appeal. And Sarah says, there's so much going on under the surface, I don't even know where to start. And it's been building up for forever now. Suffice it to say, he's just the most amazing man I've ever met, and I'm lucky that he loves me just as much as I love him. And June says, I don't think it's luck, Sarah. You two were made for each other. You see that, Eric? They were made for each other. This is the gateway that opens here to opens to me reading TNA. Oh no. Jaime returns to the table and smiles, taking his seat next to you. Y'all need to stop it right now. Jaime says, yep, definitely on my last legs over here. And June says, really? The night's still young, Jaime. And Jaime says, yet the bar scene is wearing thin. I'm about to head home. And Jaime glances over at you and raises an eyebrow. And Jaime says, you want to get out of here? And Sarah says, let me go make the rounds and say my goodbyes, and I'll meet you at the truck. Moments later, you arrive at Jaime's place, looking around his room as if it's the first time. And it's crazy to remember all the times I used to dream about being here, and now here I am. What took us so long? And Jaime draws the blinds in his room, looking over his shoulder at you. And Jaime says, well, we were just letting the romance marinate. And Jaime's eyes light softly as he stares at you. And Sarah says, what? Do I have something on my face? And Jaime says, I'm just realizing that this is finally happening. And Jaime steps closer and cups your cheek, transfixed. And he draws you close and kisses you, slowly and fully. And his arms fold around you, hands slipping up your back. Starry-eyed, you pull away from him only after a long time. And Jaime says, now that you're here, I'm just not sure what to do with you. What? We could just get a massage? Ooh. I'm against anyone who sleeps in that room. Also, you had a sad dream. What happened? Oh my gosh. Stop, they're so adorable. I love them. I know, I love them too, Dr. Waffles. I give them 6 months before they realize they are better as friends. Oh. Okay. Okay. We're doing this for science. I want you to make love to me, Sarah says. Uh-oh. It's that music. And Jaime says, the last time you asked me to make love to you, my alarm clock went off and I woke up. And you reach up and touch Jaime's cheek, as enamored with his beauty as he is with yours. And Sarah says, if this is all a dream, then I'm sharing it with you. And you lean together and kiss passionately, arms twining around one another, and your fingers carve through his hair, and you sigh, letting your body bow against his. And he's thinking, I can barely think over the pounding in my chest. KT. Alright. Y'all are so funny. Oh my god. I love you guys. You move to unfasten his shirt buttons and his fingers bind around your wrist and stop you. And Sarah says, well, what is it? And Jaime says, I've been waiting for this moment for a long time, and I don't want to blow past it just because I'm so ready. I want to savor you. And you smile softly and step back, holding Jaime's gaze as you take your precious time slipping out of your clothes. Derpy, you get out of this channel right now. I'm just kidding. This is so weird. You smile softly and step back, holding Jaime's gaze as you take your precious time slipping off your clothes. Okay. And Jaime says, "Oh, Sarah, this is like finishing a good book and all the really hard video games I've ever beat rolled into one." And Sarah says, "I love it when you talk nerdy to me." Jaime chuckles and his fingers go to his buttons, deftly flicking them open until you're gazing at his broad, bare chest. And Sarah says, "You know, I always try to prepare myself, and I'm never quite ready." Whoa, okay. Just a natural result of a lifetime of hard work in the hot sun. And Jaime starts unbuttoning his pants, and you step forward to lay your hands over his. And Sarah says, "I can take over from here." And you tug Jaime's jeans from his hips, kissing delicately along his abdomen as you go, and his muscles flex under the feather-like touch of your lips. What are you, an entree? Oh my god. You almost forget what you're doing until he's standing in front of you, stripped. Oh my goodness. Whoa, look at the pattern on those shorts. And Jaime walks you back toward the bed, stretching you out on the mattress with all the reverence of a fairy tale prince. And his lips are almost tentative as he kisses you. His fingertips skate along your curves, bringing goosebumps to the surface. And Sarah says, "Oh, Jaime, you're so gentle. I knew you would be." And Jaime says, "It'd be a tragedy if I was in love with you for 10 years, but our first time was over in 10 minutes. Yeah, he's pretty cut. He's pretty cut. Cherry. Sarah says, 10 years, huh? You never told me that. And Jaime says, "You were the first girl I ever noticed, and I haven't been able to tear my eyes away since." And Sarah says, "Jaime?" And you draw his lips down to yours and kiss him with all the desire burning inside you. And his arms curl around you, and you feel treasured and secure as he moves against you. Oh, Fish, you wanted the air quotes rough option? Is that what you were looking for? Ah! His mouth migrates along your throat, leaving a trail of tender kisses. And Sarah says, "Jaime!" And the bedroom gets fuzzy and overheated as your bodies intertwine, leaving barely enough room to breathe. And your breath mingles with his as you gasp and moan together. And Jaime's like, "Oh, Sarah." And the clock ticks on, and as you contort and twist, savoring one another long into the night. And later, you lapse off to sleep side by side, as if this is the way it has always been. So after I blushed a little bit and laughed a lot, it wasn't that bad. That was actually a very tame scene compared to some of the later stuff. Days pass, and just as Anna predicted, your phone rings frequently with offers of new work, and you have several interviews set up for the coming month. Your dad sits on the couch alongside Jaime, rewatching your viral gubernatorial debate for the 7th time. Oh, because I didn't take the good option? That was the good option! I thought it was very cute! I thought it was cute! Y'all wrong for that. Y'all are so wrong. Because I didn't take the good option. It was a good option. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Choices lady says, "Bruh, I waited 10 years for that." Nina says, "Definitely friend zoning him further after this. How could you do that?" Nina says, "Choices lady, I came here for nothing." Oh no. Just saying Anna does it against a window. Okay, okay. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Just no. Oh, if you choose that option. Oh. Oh. Oh my gosh. Y'all are killing me, man. Y'all are killing me. Okay, I gotta read a bad joke though. Hold on. After going through that 30 diamond scene with y'all, I have to find a bad joke. Let's see what we got. Oh, okay, fish. Okay. So I guess I'll have to go back and look at all the other options. Let's see. Why did the owl invite his friends over? He didn't want to be owl by himself. Oh, why y'all being so mean to me? I take the 30 diamond seed and then y'all clown me. What the heck? Aubrey's seen his reading his screenplay and editing it for him. Wow. See if I take the 30 diamond seed again. Y'all be clowning me and stuff. You didn't cuddle. We're good. Yes, that Jerry. The points are for bad jokes, sir. Of course it was terrible. Oh my god. Oh. So Sarah says, come on, Dad. Let me pry you off that couch for some lunch. Can I bring you a salad, sandwich, both? And Dad says, oh, here comes the part where she dodges into the crowd. That's my little girl, taking down the system. And Jaime says, I'd just bring both, Sarah. You know he'll eat them. And smiling, you stand from the couch and make your way toward the kitchen. And Glory lifts her head from where she's curled on the couch. And she's thinking, bring me back a pate of fish, would you? I'm just swamped right now. Right, meow. And a knock at the door brings you from the kitchen, and you glance through the peephole to see Ellen Thompson. And you hurry to unlatch the door and open it. And Sarah says, hey, Ellen, I was just hosting yet another viewing party of our glorious debate. They're hanging out with her dad after what they did last night. I know, right? It's like, I would feel like a little bit awkward, you know? And Dad says, the Ellen Thompson? Hold on, I've got to get an autograph. And Ellen says, everybody does. How are you doing, Sarah? Found a new job yet? And Sarah says, just some interviews lined up. Why do you ask? And a mischievous smile spreads over Ellen's lips. And she says, because I'm about to make you an offer you can't refuse. How'd you like to co-star on the Ellen and Sarah show? And Sarah says, don't you mean the Sarah and Ellen show? And Ellen says, details, darling. This is going to be fun! And you invite Ellen inside, ready to plan the greatest show on television. And that was the end of our book.